Good morning. Today is the 16th of August 2024 and it is the first morning in my new home. Guys, when you go to university, don't be just like everyone else where you stay up late at night and you miss the beautiful, quiet morning. Can you hear the birds tweeting? Probably not, because I have noise cancelling on this new microphone that I bought. Today's lesson is going to be on identity, and I don't care really how much views this video gets. I care more about just teaching without the dopamine, without the flashy edits, without, all the crap that I put into my main channel videos to make it more entertaining, because that's the game on YouTube. You have to play the game. If I just didn't edit my videos and, made it like this every single time and taught you something new, then it would get very few views. But I do want to teach like this, because at the end of the day, while it is fun to watch edutainment videos, they're kind of not as productive as you might think they are. You are learning something, which is very valuable, but I am also giving you flashy edits. I'm also frying your dopamine systems. You probably don't even realize it, but there is a lot of time and effort spent into retention in my scripts, into just hooking you in. And I feel like people should have the option to watch something like this, which is why I'm making this video. When most people move to university, they think it's the first time I'm away from my parents. I have an opportunity now to party, to get drunk, to do the typical university lifestyle. Whether you choose to drink or not, a lot of people, they waste time in university. But I encourage you that if you're going to university, you're actually in a very unique opportunity, because for the first time in your life, you have the opportunity to create your own identity. And identity is more important than you think. I'm not talking about like, I identify as a woman or a man, you do whatever you want with that. I'm talking about, what do you believe about yourself? Because what you believe about yourself defines what you do. And it sounds like I'm being very wishy-washy, but let me explain this to you in a more concrete way. Let me introduce it to you in a very logical way. So, when you have a belief, it is very difficult to act against that belief. If you, let's say, are an atheist, try praying 5 times a day. It's going to be very difficult, right? Because it doesn't align with your beliefs. So, your beliefs forms your identity. Your identity is essentially, what do you believe about yourself? And if you, for example, believe you are an introvert, let's say, hogweed, sorry. If you're an introvert, then it will be very difficult for you to go out and talk to more people, because that forms part of your identity. You're acting against your beliefs. So that's why I hate, for example, when people say, oh, I'm an introvert, I can't do that. You're only telling yourself that. You don't actually have to follow those rules. You can change your identity, your beliefs about yourself. And once you do that, it will become easier to change your actions in a positive way if you change your identity in a positive way. So this is why identity is incredibly important, because it's tied to your actions and not just what you do every now and again. It's tied to what you do every single day. A lot of people say to me, how do you pray 5 times a day? That sounds too hard. Each prayer takes 10 minutes. It doesn't actually take that much out of my day. It's a nice way to break up the day, and it forms part of my beliefs. I don't actually struggle a lot with that because it forms part of my beliefs. Just like you brush your teeth every day or you shower every day, whatever you do, if you identify as a clean person, you probably won't find it too difficult to shower every day. Obviously, there's limits to this, but that's the point that I want to get across. So, we know that changing our identity, which is our beliefs about ourselves, is important. So, how do we do that? Well, it is a mental game. It's difficult to, it's difficult to know whether you've actually changed your identity or not, because obviously, how are you going to know? It's not something that you do and it's physically there. Oh, I've got a new identity now. You can only do it mentally. It's in your mind. It's what you think about yourself. But changing your physical environment and changing your appearance, look at the transgenders. When they change their identity, they change their appearance, they change how they talk with people. They might even change what they do in a typical day, when they wake up, when they go to sleep. All of these things are things that you can change about yourself. And once you make that change, it mentally allows yourself to think, right, I am behaving in a new way. So that can make it easier to align with a new identity. So other things is even changing your name, right? So for me, for example, this is the first full day that I'm spending in university. So I see this as a big, big opportunity because everything changes at this point. When you first come to university, your environment changes. Let me just see if there's a way that I can come round in the sun. I don't want to step on a farmlander out, but yeah, I don't want to step on any crops. All right. What was I talking about? Yeah. So what I'm going to be doing today, I'm actually going to change my name, not legally, because I used to go by a nickname. I'm now going to go by my legal name, and that's part of changing my identity. I'm also going to wake up at an earlier time than I usually do. Again, changing environment, changing habits, changing identity. And it's a lot easier to do this when you have that change in environment. There was a study taking American soldiers who were fighting in Vietnam, and places like that during the Cold War. And many of them got addicted to, I believe it was some hard drug. It was something like meth or heroin. This was a study that I read in a book. And a lot of these hard addicts, when they came back to their home country of America, 90%, it was something crazy, like the vast majority of them gave up their addiction to a hard drug just because of the change in that environment. Now, it may be that it was harder to get a hold of in America, and because not everyone around them was doing it, it helped them to adjust and to not do it themselves. But that was an addiction to a hard drug. That's no joke. Don't do drugs, guys. Never do drugs. Okay? If you think that it's a good idea, you want to experiment, literally, there's people who've been torn apart by them. And I know you might think that you're not going to be that person, but don't bloody risk it, okay? So these people managed to change their identity to some degree, and because they changed their identity, their habits changed. What they did, how they acted, and the addictions that they had. I don't open up a lot on my main channel because it's not really relevant to the channel. But when I was younger, I used to watch porn. That was basically the only addiction I ever had. I did used to play video games as well, but I wouldn't say I was addicted to that. I could stop myself pretty easily. But pornography is one of those things that it kept coming back to me again and again, and I felt like I couldn't stop it until recently. And now I'm in a new environment. I don't think about it whatsoever anymore. And I think that I can have the same effect. You know, obviously hard drugs is probably a harder addiction to come off of. So I'm hoping that I never have to think about it ever again. And so far, it seems like that's the case because I'm changing my identity. So apart from just changing your environment, what else can you do to change, and what you do, obviously, what else can you do to change your identity? That's a hard question. Okay. If you change the way that you talk to people, that's a good one. Because the way that you talk is strongly tied to your identity. You could even change the music you listen to. Maybe your new identity listens to pop music instead of rock music. Or obviously don't pick something that you hate. If you hate classical music, don't say, oh, I listen to classical, just to be hard on yourself. I mean, you can if you really want to be, but changing things that you do and the habits that you have. So basically, I'm going to create an inventory of the things that I do. I'm right next to a highway, so you might be able to hear the wind and the cars and whatnot. It's a very beautiful place. I'm going to be making an inventory of everything that my old identity did. And I will keep some. You know, I'm not going to forcibly change everything about myself, but I will also change things that I can change. I can change the clothes that I wear. The clothes that I wear now, like this hoodie and these jogging bottoms, that's quite typical of what I would wear in the past. So I'll have to think about that today. What does my new identity wear? Obviously, my new identity has a name. I'm not going to reveal that though. At least not yet. So have a think about these things yourself. And you don't have to do it tomorrow. I'm not expecting you to. Just know that when you move to a different place or a different environment, you always have that opportunity. And the vast, vast majority of people completely waste it. So don't be that person. Take advantage of it. You don't even necessarily have to change your environment. You could gradually modify your environment over time, and then with that gradually modify your identity. It is a difficult process, but it is worth it. It is very much worth it because you don't actually know this, but your identity is basically the core of 90% of what you do. You might believe that that's an exaggeration, and maybe it is a tiny bit, but not really, because you don't realize how much you could change with your identity. And if you just tried it, you can get a lot of success from this work. So it's very valuable, very good use of your time. I hope to be more of a good use of your time, and I hope that you learned something valuable and that you take notes, you write this down if you felt like it helped you. Drop a like, comment if you like. If not, I don't care. I don't care how many views this gets. But do let me know if you want to see more of these, because that lets me know whether it's worthwhile. Yeah? All right. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm going to start walking back now because I've gone pretty far. But it was just such a beautiful day that I just kept walking. I'm having the time of my life. Hopefully you guys are too, or hopefully you will be soon. All right. Peace out.